it was part of the giving of
The Matan Torah actually happened because of Yitro. Okay, we said that the Kriyat Yam Suf wasn't enough because we see the Mitzrayim, there was no biur on the Mitzrayim. They actually just had to die, basically. So dying is not the fullest biur. So that's number one. We said also Amalek still came and fought the Jews. Therefore, even though there was some type of destroying of the Kalipas, but there wasn't a bittul, so it still existed. So therefore, Amalek came and they went against the Jews. And then Yitro came along, and it says only when Yitro said, Baruch Hashem, like that song, what's it called? Zushar. And then the Jews said it also. So why? And then we got the Torah. So why do we have to wait? So what did Yitro do? So we explained yesterday that in the Hilchos Avodah Zarah from the Rambam, he says that the reason why a person falls into Avodah Zarah is because he makes a mistake in his understanding, which he basically thinks that Hashem created intermediaries, therefore I have to give them some type of kavod. And it says the higher you go in the higher oilamos, then the easier it is to make a mistake. So once Yitro went through all the worlds for the Avodah Zarah that he did, and therefore that's like the lowest part of the Tachton, which is the highest of Avodah Zarah is the lowest of the Tachton. Like that it says that. So therefore, when he was able to fix the mistake there, then there was a full chibur of the Elyonim and Tachtonim, which caused Matan Torah to happen.
So if he's using his thinking and he's getting involved in Avodah Zarah, what is his new expression of thought?
That he came out of everything he learned, you're saying?
Meaning that if we're saying Avodah Zarah comes from this place of thinking, whatever that means, if we're saying Yitro is the one who's doing this tikkun, so to speak, what is it?
Well, it doesn't mean you go and do it yourself. It doesn't mean that. Because if you did that, you'd probably do things that are chayav mita.
No, not ourselves. I'm saying Yitro himself. If we're expressing his Yitro as like, he's the Kohen, he's the Gadol of the master of getting into Avodah Zarah, and Avodah Zarah is coming from this place of thinking, and that's how one gets into trouble.
Yeah.
So to speak. And
what is that thinking you're saying?
That thinking is bringing something to the Avodah Zarah. But now if we're saying he's doing something that is making him come, because Yitro is doing some sort of, I don't know if it's a tshuva or whatever it is. What is it that he's doing now, or what is it that changed from thinking in Avodah Zarah to now
how did he change
into this place of coming close to God in this process? What is that?
How did he get to that realization?
Yeah.
Like Gadol Hashem and Kollel Loikim? I don't know. Does it say how he did it? He realized that everything is just intermediary except for Hashem himself. That's what it came down to.
So one of the things I heard is why do we say Yitro as a parsha? Something about it has to do with him hearing. He's associated with hearing. So if you're saying he's thinking and he's doing this, as opposed to we say Shema Yisrael.
Oh, about the war of Amalek and
what is him that's changing?
We're going to say it now about the hearing of the war of Amalek. According to what we said, it's going to understand the wine of Torah, which is what Rashi said. Mashmua Shama Uba Kriyat Yamsuf Milchemet Amalek. So what is the thing that he heard and then came? Was Kriyat Yamsuf and the war of Amalek. We know the question. Halo Shama Yitro V'yada Mikol Nisim Agdolim Shel Yitzias Mitzrayim. Didn't Yitro hear all of the wonders and miracles of leaving Egypt? He didn't want to come yet. Ella alidei shmua zu, only through hearing the shmua of the Kriyat Yamsuf and Amalek, he said, now I'm going to come. But about 10 plagues happened over a period of time. Crazy miracles. All these things. Imagine all the water turns to blood. It's like, if we heard that today, then like the whole world would like, okay, what's going on? Not good enough. Only when he heard the Kriyat Yamsuf and the war of Amalek. Furthermore, my time shemedayek b'lashono lomar. Why did it say milchemet Amalek? He's basically emphasizing the war of Amalek and not the victory of the Jewish people. What's the emphasis there? We should have said Hatzalat Yisrael mi mapalat Amalek. Either the saving of the Jewish people or the downfall of Amalek. It's milchama Amalek. Okay, if you want to tell us the great miracle, then we say that we beat Amalek. Why saying the war of Amalek? So according to what we said, we can understand these two things that Yitro heard, Kriyat Yamsuf, which is, we said the Kriyat Yamsuf was also a unification of higher and lower worlds. It actually happened. And Milchamat Amalek showed you that the Chibur, the unification of the higher and lower worlds, was not in a complete form yet, because still the Klippa fought it, which is Amalek. Therefore, Yitro came, and it says, V'hoda l'kodesh baruch hu, which means, L'takenu la'ashlim t'chibur, in order to actually complete and fix the unification, through the biur and the refinement of the other side, that wasn't complete until now. So basically, he had to come specifically after those two things, because what he's doing is coming to complete those two things. Because he's saying, Kriyat Yamsuf was the unification of higher and lower worlds, so that's good enough, right? Like, that's Matan Torah. No, because the war of Amalek came afterwards, and the war of Amalek showed that it didn't do the full unification. Then came Yitro to fix it and actually complete it himself. So from this is understood what we're saying, that specifically the Shmua of Milchemet Amalek brought Yitro, not the Nitzachon of Yisrael in this war, because the Milchama means that the Klippa still exists, which means the biur hasn't been done fully, which means Matan Torah couldn't happen yet until Yitro came. Okay? Get it?
There's a shot that when Klal Yisrael was taken out of Mitzrayim, so around the lowest level, right, the 49th level, if it would have stayed there for another second, it would have been too late. There would have been no people to save it.
Right.
So there's an opposite shot. Something reminded me is that Kedin says it. He says that no, it's not that there would have been no one to save. Had it been one more second, the Gilui was so great that the Klippa would have disappeared.
The Klippa, Gilui of what you're saying?
The Gilui of all the miracles that were happening in Klal Yisrael, it would have reached such a point that the Klippa wouldn't be able to exist anymore.
Oh wow!
That's why I took this out.
It's big, yeah.
I have to point that out.
That's
From the miracles in Egypt, it was putting to sea.
No, this is before.
We have another thing that needs explanation. It says that the Seder has to be in a way of Ma'alin B'Kodesh. You have to always go up in Kedusha.
At Hanukkah, we like
yeah, exactly. So too over here, when the Jews of the Seder of what happened to the Jewish people, between Yitzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah, they went out from the 49th level of Tuma. They went level after level until they got the Matan Torah. Now, in this period of time, we also have the war of Amalek. The war of Amalek, it caused a Yerida. Such a big Yerida in the level until we have Milchama LaHashem Ba'amalek Midor Dor. So meaning to say, if we're going up in levels, what's Amalek doing there? Bringing us down to the point where we have to fight him from now on until Mashiach comes.
Why HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't give him a smack and that's it?
Just smack him, yeah. Because he would have smacked back. That's why. He would have. He doesn't care. He's the rebellious nation.
No, destroy him. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can destroy him. Why he's waiting for us to do it?
Yeah, it'd be too easy. It would be too easy after that. No one would have any doubts.
No, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amar.
Be sure of all decisions.
Isn't that what Amalek is? Suffix?
It's doubt, yeah. You would for sure know Hashem's always with you, and there will be nothing to worry about. We can understand what we said from this. Yeah.
So is that part of what Yitro was dealing with? Was that it's a war or against doubt?
Well,
against what Amalek represented?
Well, Amalek represented doubt, but the fact that Amalek now fought with the Jewish people means that the Klippas were not destroyed yet. And then Yitro understood that his biur now had to come and kick in when he did the biur on the Klippas, and he was able to leave it and go to Kedusha, so that Mevar the Klippas at a very deep level, which gave the ability for Matan Torah to happen. And when Matan Torah happened, and it's like the medicine to destroy Amalek.
So he would be needed.
We're still fighting.
He
We're still
realized
fighting.
he would be needed because it wasn't.
He would have to. He actually had to finish the thing. He had to finish the job for the Torah to come down.
What's his job?
Of unification of the higher and lower worlds, which couldn't happen until Yitro came along and did his birur, and that caused a fuller unification that allowed Matan Torah to happen.
Could it be that since Yitro is representing the conglomerate of the idol-worshipping society at large, he's the head of the UN of idol worship, so to speak.
Or the UN itself.
Maybe he still believed that there was something that can be uplifted within that community, but once Amalek did this, and it was such a blast towards God, that maybe even though they're idol worshiper, maybe they still it was disrespectful what they did even in the idol worshiping community, that he said, you know what? Even though I'm trying to do some unification within the idol worshiping community, because Amalek is doing it.
No, he left idol worshippers. He said they're all wrong.
Okay, but meaning that we said he's not leaving to go to join the Jewish people until
then
we're going to see an Amalek, and to understand why, because he's still hanging out in his community, he's doing what it is, but then once Amalek is doing this, it's sort of this is what they're representing. It's
he was waiting for his time to finish the birur. And these two things had to happen according to what
so
we were saying.
So what is he looking for before he shows up?
That he's ready to finish it. Yitro, I guess he understood that he had to finish the job in order for Matan Torah to come down. So he was waiting for the moment where he could finish the job, and that only happened after Kriyat Yam Suf and then Amalek fighting the Jewish people. Because Kriyat Yam Suf was a certain level of unification of higher and lower worlds, which is a preparation of Matan Torah. But since it wasn't a full level, because the Egyptians died, and then Amalek rose up, then Yitro's now it's my time to finish the job. He came in there and he says, I'm done with this Avodah Zarah. And then he changed his understanding, and that caused the unification of the higher and lower worlds. And therefore, because of that, it brought the Torah down to the Jewish people.
Already denounced Avodah Zarah before that anyways.
Good question. Where? When is it?
All Gideon hated him and put his daughters and him in harem basically.
So al pi Chassidus, it says that the 7 nations, Canaanite nations, represent the 7 midos. So that's basically, it's basically the Vav and the Hey, or the 7 midos. The Vav 6 and the Hey is the last one. So that's Kanaani, Prizi, Avusi, those are the 7 midos. And then Midian comes along, and it says in the Maimer Heichaltu that Midian is against Shem Havaya in a general sense. It wants to destroy Shem Havaya, which represents unity. And it says that the Shvir Kalim in the world of Tohu, the reason why one Keli cannot stand another Keli is because the energy of Midian was there, and the energy of Midian was there can't be unity, it has to be separation. I have my own existence. That's Midian. Amalek, it's its own category also. It says that Hashem's name cannot be complete until Amalek's destroyed. What does Amalek do? It split the Yud K from the Vav K. So the Yud K is Hashem's intentions, and the Vav K is our experience of those intentions. And so when you experience something, what do you have to do? You have to interpret what Hashem is trying to tell you. And Amalek basically tells you that it's not, Hashem doesn't want good, and then you interpret it in the wrong way, and you come to all these doubts that God doesn't exist in the place. So therefore, I guess specifically Yitro had to mevar that type of klipa for whatever reason, as opposed to the Midian. Well, he came from Midian. It's interesting also, but he's dealing with Amalek here. Because Yud K is the higher worlds, Vav K is the lower worlds. So Amalek wants to split them, and keep them disconnected. So Yitro, he had to help bring the Torah, so he had to connect them together.
Interesting, because Amalek is Amal Kuf. Kuf is separation. They work to keep that separation.
The work is there. What do you mean?
Their job is to keep that separation.
Oh, yeah. Keeps you a monkey. Poof. Yeah. No, it does. It means because you start doing things that don't make sense according to the Torah. Start acting.
Why Amalek exists in this world?
Yeah.
And I think
No reason.
I'm going to try to answer it.
Yeah.
Because in this world, what does he represent, Amalek? He represents the Yetzer Hara. Isa, who ba me Isa? Amalek ba me Isa, the Yetzer Hara. So you need the Yetzer Hara in this world for the free choice. If you don't have a free choice, you have the good and the bad, and you have to choose between the good and the bad. You are an angel, you don't need this world.
Okay.
So you need this world, you need Amalek to use him to steigen more in taking the good decisions.
Right. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, according to this, we could explain.
If Rabbi say yes, I agree.
Yes, I saw him say it. According to this, we could understand the answer. Since the war of Amalek is the reason for the refining and the biur of Leumat Zeh through Yitro, Shahu Ilui v'Gilui Na'alei Oter, it's a very high level of revelation, even of Kriyat Yam Suf. Therefore, even the war of Amalek, in the end of the day, is part of the Aliyah, that's going to be the highest Aliyah in the Achana for Matan Torah. So we could say what the sages, now we could explain what the sages said at the beginning. We said that it says, the sages say, Shignaihu l'Moshe, and Veshisha Ribui, what does it say? Shin Reid, what does it say? Shisha Ribu, right? Shelo Amru Baruch Acha Yitro v'Amar Baruch. So it's a disgrace that we didn't say Baruch until Yitro said it. Baruch means, what does it mean?
Bless.
Hamshacha, drawing down, as it says, Hamavrichet Gefen, Ubaruch Hashem, which means you're drawing down godliness.
Where did that come from? Baruch means drawing down.
Hamavrich et Gefen. It's Hilchos Kilayim.
It's something you do with the vine. The vine is mavrik, I think it's grafted.
Yeah, grafted, because you're drawing it down to the next.
Drawing it down to the other thing.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
the idea of burial, mavrik, is led to the same root.
Right.
Bringing down some kind
Draw-
of.
The revelation of the Or, godly light, through the singing and the avodah of Moshe Rabbeinu, the service of Moshe and the 600,000 Jews, even though it's a very high level, nonetheless, lo hayad ze'adayim ofen shel Baruch Havaya Mikol Elokim. Was it the level of Baruch Hashem Mikol Elokim? Why? Which means the Tachlis HaHamshacha, the ultimate level of drawing down to the lowest place. Because there was still an existence of the other side, and it wasn't being refined through their avoda, like we see in the avoda of the tzaddikim. Until Yitro came and said Baruch Hashem, that through him there was a revelation of this high light of Havaya, and it drew down into the lowest level, that it got mevared through his acknowledgement. And then the Torah was given, which is the combination of the higher and lower worlds uniting together. So now what is the lesson for us in this whole thing? It says Matan Torah has to be that it happens every day. As it says, Notena Torah. God is the one who gives the Torah. Okay, what verb is that in? Any Old-Time majors here? Present. Wow. Happening right now. Notena Torah. What does it mean? The Hachana, this is that a person has to do B'chol D'rachecha De'ehu, in all your ways you shall know Hashem. They should be connected in Davuk and Havaya, knowing Him, not only in things of Kedusha, but actually in B'chol D'rachecha, through Inyanei Reshut, things that you are allowed to use up in the world that are not necessarily pure Kedusha. Okay, not only things that are karov l'kedusha, even in things that are in rechokim kedusha, far from kedusha. For example, the war of Amalek, it was a preparation for Matan Torah. But before that, you have to have Kriyat Yam Suf, which is the inyanim of kedusha, and this gives the person the power and the ability to fight Amalek, which is the biur of the things in the reshus, the things that you're allowed to use, which it says, Tfilati smucha lamitati, my prayer is next to my bed. What does that mean? From the shul to the Beis Hamikdash, and only afterwards you do the minhag called derech eretz, worldly things. So therefore, the seder is when you wake up, you have to do the hoda'ah klalit on your neshama modern nifanecha. Afterwards is the seder avoda of tefillah and limud Torah, inyan kedusha, and then you get the pat shacharis. Okay, you want to avoid the 87 types of sicknesses. 86? 86?
85 or 86.
Okay.
It's 86.
I think it's 86. אלא שאם רגיל בא אוכלה קודם הליכה לבית המדרש כדי שיהיה בריא חזק לעבודת בוראו כל לימה בית המדרש שאין לו קצבה מה שאין כתבי לציבור בית כנסת. Okay, so that's in and then you got after you went to pray and then you were staggering a couple hours, then you ate in between, at least had some barley coffee. I'll be the Pri Magadi Das. He says you could have coffee. I think it means barley coffee because that's like a pas shachris. It has to be from the grain, right? I think he brings it. I think
Posted. There's a Corford posted.
That's what? What's that?
This drink that's made from grain.
That's a great. I think it's
So
a yotze.
Yotze pas shachris.
I think yotze pas
Rosh
shachris.
Hashiva held the pas shachris was anything you would eat actually.
Oh really?
And that's something that's shiny.
Even like a drink or something?
Not a drink. Any food.
Food, okay.
Milk. Milk is food.
Milk is good, yeah.
That's pas shachris.
Oh wow. So then you go and you do some things in the reshus. So first, at the beginning, you have to have the revelation of the light of your soul through tefillah and Torah. Then you can bring that into the physical things. You don't start the day with the physical stuff, because then you're screwed. That's it. Okay, now, this is the Seder for majority of people. Because the Torah talks about the majority. That every day and throughout the day, at most time that is the person has free, he learns Torah. And that is the main Talmud Torah, because it says, but in the end of al nusaf al hanal, yeshtam kama chilukei dargot. You have different levels of, you have Yisachar, Issachar, and you have Zvulun. So you have Matan Torah every day. For the guy who's doing the work, you got to do Perek Echad Shacharis in the base of Midrash, and Seder Kedusha Shebesof Tefillah, and then you got to do some, after the Tefillah, do some learning, Kriyat Shema Tefillah, Perek Tamid, we say, or Birkat Kohanim, which is okay. Va'avoda be'echad ofanim anal harechana gimel Torah. So if you do the vote of any of these types of ways in the proper way, then actually that is the preparation for Matan Torah. Shenochi Hashem Elokecha, that Anochi Havaya becomes your Elokecha, that you start living at the level of Havaya and not the level of Elokim. So you go beyond the nature while you're involved in it. Okay, we'll pause it here. That's it. Or today. Chazak.